All right, today we're going to be talking about what I call Grandma's Cookbook. It's really a kind of an easy way to remember transcription, all right, and translation. Now, transcription is when we make a copy of the gene. We learned already what a gene is. We're going to make a little single-stranded copy in the form of something called mRNA, and all of this goes on in the nucleus, okay? So you're in the nucleus. Okay, we're going to come over here, and in the nucleus, here's the cell, the nucleus here, and in the nucleus we have chromosomes, all right? These little chromosomes, all right, are where the genes are located. They're made out of DNA. Well, these chromosomes, all right, have genes on them. We've talked about that before. We know what causes something to be a gene. Well, we make a copy of this piece of DNA, this gene, all right, and that copy, all right, we call an mRNA. And this mRNA then leaves the nucleus. It goes out here into the cytoplasm. All right, once it is in the cytoplasm, all right, it is translated. All right, so now translation. All right, and this is when the actual instructions that are on the copy, all right, are translated by the ribosome. The ribosome reads it, all right, and this is all happening out here in the cytoplasm. And when it reads it, it follows the instructions and puts together your protein. So we have transcription, which goes on in the nucleus. We have translation, which goes on out here in the cytoplasm. All right, and you need to understand this process of how this works. And for this, we have an analogy in the story of Grandma's Cookbook. Now, in Grandma's Cookbook, we start by saying, well, where does it all happen? All right, and we say, well, the DNA are recipes. They're actually recipes for making the proteins. So in this particular case, let me make this a little larger here. All right, so we have recipes, all right, for making something, making a particular type of food, just like we have recipes for making proteins, we have recipes for making food. But in Grandma's Cookbook, I said that the cookbook is valuable, and so we really don't like to take it into the kitchen, all right? So we keep it in the bedroom, all right? Just like you keep the DNA in the nucleus, all right? You keep the book, all right, in the bedroom. That is to safeguard it from catching on fire, spilling stuff on it, because the cookbook, Grandma's Cookbook, might have all these handwritten recipes. They're very old, etc. Now, since you can't take it into the, or don't want to take it into the kitchen, you need to make copies. So you copy the recipes, all right? But you don't copy the whole cookbook. You copy just the ones you need for that meal. Okay, that's important for this idea. And of course, you do this all in the bedroom, all right, not in the kitchen. So all the copying is in the bedroom. Now, what is the copier? The copier itself is something we've already learned about. It is RNA polymerase. It's a protein. All right, it's a protein that attaches to the DNA and copies it, and it makes this little RNA we talked about. All right, this little RNA that moves out of the nucleus and into the cytoplasm. All right, the RNA polymerase copies the gene, the little piece of DNA that has the instructions on it that we've talked about. All right, and makes an mRNA, which then leaves the nucleus. All right, so for the RNA leaves, and this is like our little picture over here. We've made the copy. We're going to leave, and when the RNA leaves, it's going to find or a ribosome finds it, whichever one you want to think of. A ribosome, which is like the cook. All right, the cook. All right, the cook then reads the instruction. Well, you need ingredients, and we're going to call something called tRNAs. They're like your kids that are helping you cook. They're going to bring you the ingredients. All right, and when they bring you the ingredients, you mix them. All right, so the ribosome puts everything together. The cook, or the ribosome, not only does it read the instructions, but it puts it all together. Oop. Mixes it up. Well, that's essentially the same thing as assembling your protein. All right, and in that case, now the protein has to fold, and our equivalent of folding, you now cook the food in the oven. All right, now the cooking is the equivalent of the protein folding into the right shape. Just like you have to cook something to get it to taste good, well, to get the protein to function right, you have to cook it. You have to let it fold up into the right shape. This is the equivalent of folding of your protein, all right, so that it takes on the right shape. So this is Grandma's cookbook. The idea is that you have these little steps, 6 or 7. You can mix some of these or break them apart into more if you like. But the idea, once you are out of the nucleus, all right, you're down here, you have this little thing called a ribosome. They're very tiny. They're made out of some more RNAs, actually, and some proteins that all stick together. And the RNA attaches to it. So this little RNA attaches to it, and it reads it like like you see those, what do you call them, label makers, where it pulls the tape through the machine. Well, it's going to pull this RNA through it, and as it does, it reads this, and it slowly gets these amino acids here, and it attaches them to each other, all right, to form a long chain of amino acids. Think of the children bringing them the amino acids. They're the ingredients, and these go in here, and basically it attaches all these pieces until you have this long set of these little ingredients all mixed together to make up this protein, and this protein then has the function that you're looking for. And that is Grandma's cookbook.